Hi, I'm Kevin. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to test the Ursack bear resistant bag against bears and a few other animals. So this is an Ursack. That's the brand name. It's a Kevlar bag made to keep your food in when you're camping in the backcountry. It's made of Kevlar, so it's resistant to bears biting and scratching through this. And the idea is that it protects your food from being taken from a bear. I've got a couple of the older white ones. They now sell them in black. An Ursack can be really good because sometimes it's hard to find that perfect tree to hang your food in to keep it away from a bear. Sometimes you might be camping in a place where there are no trees. And actually hanging a bear bag can be challenging for a lot of people, even if you do find the right spot. So the idea with this is you just tie it to a tree away from your camp and a bear won't be able to get at your food. This is also a really good option for backpackers because the bag itself is much lighter than other bear canister options. But an Ursack isn't perfect. Unlike a canister, a bear can still crush your food and it might be able to bite through the bag and puncture something inside. So the goal of protecting food in the backcountry isn't really to keep your food from being stolen on you, it's to protect the bear from accessing your food and giving that bear a reward and making it become habituated. So one criticism of the Ursack is that a bear could bite through this, puncture a container inside, perhaps full of liquids, and the bear would still get a reward from that experience. So since I live in bear country, I thought I would test out my Ursack on actual bears. Now before we start, I want to make it clear that I'm doing this on my own property, far from my home and other homes, and I live in a rural area and we're quite far away from campgrounds or other recreation areas. So anything I'm doing to the bears isn't going to affect someone else. So the setup for this is really simple. All I'm going to do is hang my bear bag in the backcountry. But before I do, I'm going to put a couple of open containers of sardines inside. I'll tie this tightly to a tree and I'll set up some trail cameras, and those sardines should attract a bear. So when I set this up, I was really targeting a bear, but I was surprised to actually attract a whole variety of other animals. So we're going to see the Ursack tested not just against a bear, but a whole spectrum of animals, and we're going to start with the easiest and work our way to the hardest. Of course, just after setting this up, it had to snow. So that deer walked past the Ursack as if it didn't even care. Let's try another animal. All right, that coyote looked a little more interested in the Ursack, but in the end it didn't care either. So let's try and up the game with an animal that wants to get into this bag. All right, finally an animal that wants to get inside the bag. That raccoon worked at it for a little while, but I was really surprised that it gave up only after a couple of minutes. Given the reward that's inside that bag, I thought it would have worked a little bit harder, but I guess times aren't very tough in the forest and it can find a meal elsewhere. That was a lynx, and I did not expect to capture a lynx on camera at all, so I feel pretty lucky that we did. The lynx was clearly interested in the sardines, but just like the raccoon, it gave up after a short while. So that was an American marten, more commonly known as a pine marten. That animal was certainly interested in getting at the fish inside the bag. It came back time and time again. I just showed you a little clip, but that animal came back all through the night at different times, trying to get into the bag, biting at the bag. It has little needle-like teeth, and it punctured the bag in numerous places. I thought it was really interesting to see how aggressive that marten really was. So finally, what you've been waiting for, an actual bear. And this bear challenged the Ursack pretty good. Wasn't the biggest bear in the world, but it bit and chewed and clawed at that bag and couldn't get through, although it did leave some pretty hefty teeth marks in the bag. A couple times I could hear it crushing the sardine cans with its teeth. In the end, that bear was happy just rubbing that fish oil all over its head, just like a dog might with something stinky. And, after 3 or 4 minutes, that bear moved on as well. So in summary, I would say that the Ursack is bear resistant. It's not bear proof. It's definitely bear resistant as advertised. It's called a bear resistant bag for a reason. Bears will have a tough time getting the food inside the bag, and the bag is likely going to keep them from stealing it. However, they can bite right through this, and if you've got a container with some oil or something inside, they're going to get a bit of a reward. So I still like the Ursack. I think it has its place. In my opinion, it's still useful in environments in bear country that are less traveled by humans and perhaps a little bit more remote, where you don't have that history of negative bear encounters. I've had an Ursack for many years and I've never had a problem. Of course, I've never put fresh sardines in my Ursack. That will definitely really motivate bears. Keeping dry food, keeping it well sealed is part of the equation, but bears do have a tremendous sense of smell. And if there's a problem bear around, it will find your food bag. So I think an Ursack is best used as kind of an extra precaution in bear country where you might have a difficult time hanging your food in a tree and where you don't have a history of negative bear encounters. That's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and certainly leave a comment below. That really helps promote the video. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.